بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد أكرم المرسلين. الحمد لله نحمده ونشكره ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ به من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا، من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله. إن شاء الله page 27 today, آية 177 to آية 181. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل والسائلين وفي الرقاب وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة والموفون بعهدهم إذا عاهدوا والصابرين في البأساء والضراء وحين البأس أولئك الذين صدقوا وأولئك هم المتقون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم القصاص في القتلى، الحر بالحر والعبد بالعبد والأنثى بالأنثى، فمن عفي له من أخيه شيء فاتباع بالمعروف وأداء إليه بإحسان، ذلك تخفيف من ربكم ورحمة، فمن اعتدى بعد ذلك فله عذاب أليم. ولكم في القصاص حياة يا أولي الألباب لعلكم تتقون. كتب عليكم إذا حضر أحدكم الموت إن ترك خيرا الوصية للوالدين والأقربين بالمعروف حقا على المتقين، فمن بدله بعدما سمعه فإنما إثمه على الذين يبدلونه، إن الله سميع عليم. فمن خاف من
صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله الكريم وإن على ذلك لمن الشاهدين والحمد لله رب العالمين. The first ayah is saying ليس البر, and that ليس is negation, and al-birra is the righteousness, and it was mentioned in ahadith Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in many occasions. So it has many branches, but Allah Azza wa Jal here is explaining what is al-birr in a very comprehensive way. So Allah is saying it's not about to be righteous is not to your direction of salah to east or west. Do you remember in the previous ayat, it was about changing the qibla, and here Allah is just also reminding them it's not only about that, or that was like farida from Allah to change the qibla, but as if that is like a physical move, and now Allah is looking at the heart. Some actions needs to be taken care through the heart, and Allah now is explaining lakin al-birra, rather the righteousness is the first one, man amana billah. So believing in Allah Azza wa Jal and not associating with Allah anything, not even the desires. That is the iman. And Rasulullah have said لا يدخل النار من كان في قلبه مثقال حبة من خردل من iman, and in the meaning that no one would enter النار جهنم لا سمح الله, no one will enter it. Of course, if there is a molecule of Iman in his heart, which is extremely small. And Allah chose in this Rasulullah chose in this hadith the mustard seed, because the mustard seed is very small. And then he said a fraction of that mustard seed. Al-Iman is like that you believe Allah Azza wa Jal is there, and you believe with his pillars of Iman, all of it. So the first one is Man amana billah. The second one, wal yawmil akhir, the last day, the day of judgment. Because when we have this belief strong and solid in our hearts, then our actions and our deeds would be straightened automatically. We are having like a far vision about al-yawm al-akhir. This is our end. So we would be more alert about it. Subhanallah, this Iman alone would keep us on the right track. Every time we may pass, we may change, we may go astray, la samahallah, remembering that Allah and remembering al-yawm al-akhir, it will bring us back. That Iman is still in the heart. This is what Allah, this is part of the birr. And al-birr, something very important, subhanallah. Yalla, let's see what else. Wal malaika, to believe in the malaika. So as we go through, we see that those are part of arkan al-iman, the pillars of iman. So believing in al-malaika also. Wal kitab, and the book, which is al-Quran al-Kareem. Wal nabiyyin, the prophets. And he didn't say when Nabi, only Sayyidina Muhammad. He said al-nabiyyin, yet he said al-kitab, only one kitab, only one book, which is al-Quran. Because the previous books are invalid. The last book is the book which is valid for everybody. But we still believe on those Anbiya, alayhim salam, who brought the books, the previous books, because they were truthful and they convey the message of Allah truthfully. But the books they left, people changed it, so it is invalid. We believe only in one book, which is Al-Quran. وَآتَ الْمَالِ. And now here, the آتَ الْمَالِ is, subhanallah, now in this ayah, I want you to pay attention. آتَ الْمَالِ, yani he gave money. So giving money is what? Is it zakah? It's not zakah. In this particular sentence, it's not zakah. Why? You would ask me why. Because look down under here. It says وَآتَ الزَّكَاةِ. So آتَ الزَّكَاة is going to come. It's another step. But here آتَ الْمَالِ, it's not zakah. Then what that is? This is the sadaqah. So sadaqah, that is, so if we believe in Allah and the last day and his angels and al-kitab, al-Quran and his messenger, and we give money, and Allah will explain later in this ayah to whom we should give money as sadaqah, then we'll be able, inshallah, to understand that this is not a zakah, because a zakah is added down there. This is sadaqah. And look at the word coming after wa'at al-mal. Al-mal is money, wealth, property. That is al-mal. And then you give that mal ala hubbihi. Hubbihi yani for the love of it. Al-hub is love. But what kind of hub is that? So it could be many different kinds of love. Yani. It could be loving the money itself, but you're giving it for the sake of Allah. It could be loving the order of Allah. So or loving Allah himself, you're giving the money for the sake of Allah. It could be loving the money because you want to give it to poor people or to who are listed now. So it could be many kinds of hub, but it is like steps. So the first step is loving the money itself, but you're still giving it away because Allah told you. It could be you're giving the best of your money, the money that you love, just like Sayyidina Umar, he used to love sugar a lot. So his sadaqah was from sugar all of the times because he loved sugar. So The second step is that you're giving from the part of your money that you like, just like Sayyidina Qabil, Qabil and his brother Sayyidina Habil. Qabil gave from the worst what we have, and Habil gave from the best what he has. Allah accepted from Habil and did not accept from Qabil. It resulted in Qabil killing his brother Habil simply because Allah accepted his sadaqah. So here means then you give from what you love, or you love giving itself. So when you give, you feel good. And the last step, which is the highest step, is that you love Allah who legislated giving. And that's why you're giving. So وَآتَ الْمَالَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ. And the word حُب here is adding a lot of element of any connection to those people that receiving this money. طيب. Who are those people who deserve this money? That Allah Azza wa Jal is like encouraging us to give them. They are ذوي القربى. So ذوي القربى are the the ذوي القربى are the close relatives, or the يعني wider circle of the relatives. But يعني as المشايخ or المفسرين said, the scholars who explain the Quran يعني say that a true lover to Allah and his messenger would consider all mu'mineen or all Muslimin his relatives. So that this is the يعني also another high level of يعني looking at giving. So everybody is giving, and that would يعني why they're saying that. There was a story about Sayyidina Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, and he was the first Khalifa at the Umayyad time. So Sayyidina a man came to Sayyidina Muawiyah asking for money, and then Sayyidina Muawiyah asked him, that man said to Sayyidina Muawiyah, I am your brother from Adam alayhi salam. And then Sayyidina Muawiyah was extremely smart. He was known with his cleverness and also with his tenderness and kindness. Beside all of that, and beside his cleverness, he was very like tender. He said, والله إنها لرحم مقطوعة والله لأكونن أول من يصلها. This is a detached kinship. يعني the kinship between us and between sons of Sayyidina Adam is detached, of course, to يعني ages. There is no connection. The chain is cut. And then he swear to Allah that he would be the first who will be يعني connect to that kinship to Sayyidina Adam, simply because that man came asking him for something, and he said أنا أخوك من Adam. So that's like the way how we look at the ذوي القربى in general. Yet we are more responsible of our close family. So if our close family members are in need, they are يعني to be given first. Subhanallah. طيب. Also ذوي القربى يعني if we're looking at the first meaning, that would include the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Why? Because the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam are forbidden to take zakah or sadaqah. So we're just giving money as like just money, not in a form of sadaqah or zakah. Then it would be very helpful, subhanallah. And that would remind me with, if you read as-seerah, يعني not only seerah until the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, going more after with al-khulafa, we would see that the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam were taking very, يعني the Sahaba took very good care of them. Sayyidina Abdul Rahman ibn Auf radiyallahu anh allocated a salary and piece of land for every one of the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. because those are ummahat al-mu'minin, the mothers of the believers, and they are his mothers. So they took a good care of the relatives of Rasulullah, because they are not sadaqah applicable, not zakah applicable. So it was just like giving, as we call it, hiba, that you give them something to own it. So this is here Dawi al-Qurba. Of course, the lineage of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is very important, that we look after them. We know that there are people have lineage with Rasulullah. So if you happen to know anybody and you know they are in some kind of need, it is very highly recommended that we take care of them under this part of the ayah, Dawi al-Qurba. And then al-yatama. Who are al-yatama? If a cat, her mom died, then in Arabic language, they would call her orphan. But for humans, al-yatim is the person, the orphan person is who lost his father. So there is no, because in Islam, father is the one who is obligated to look after his kids and their needs. Of course, mother, if she can, but she's not obligated. But if she does, Allah would consider that sadaqah for her. So when a child loses his father, he is yatim. So this is also وَآتَ الْمَالَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ. The second person who deserves sadaqah is al-aytam, al-yatama, the yatama plural of yatim. طيب. If the yatim, of course, he is too little and you can't give him, then you give the person, the guardian who's taking care of him. And also be mindful, when you give. I know a few stories for a person who used to take the money of her kids. So her kids are poor and they're receiving money, but she used to go buy her makeup and go attend parties and stuff like that. So although she's their mother, but she used to spend the money more on herself than the kids. So also you have to be mindful how to deal with that, so the money would reach to the orphans and their needs are fulfilled. The third person, or the third category, is al-masakin. Who are al-masakin? Are they the poor? No. The poor is the person who has nothing at all to eat or drink or live. But al-miskin, he has something, but which is not enough. That is al-masakin. And al-miskin is coming from as-sukun. As-sukun on top of the letters, what does it mean? It makes the letter silent. And that is as-sukun. Also, we say as-sakina, tranquil, which is sound and tranquil. That is also from the same root. So al-miskin, that he has no ability for movement to go and work. Could be disabled or like a totally broken person or an elderly, but the miskin is the person who has something, but this something is not enough. So if we're looking at those, subhanallah, categories, especially like here in Mosaic, we evaluate the case. When we receive a case, we send an application just to evaluate the case and see which category the person who is applying is. Are they faqir? Are they miskin? Are they among yatama? To see whether zakah applicable or sadaqah applicable or not applicable at all. But here, if a person has something which is not enough, many people say, no, khalas, he has something, I don't want to give them. We deal with donors like that. But al-miskin is listed here in the ayah. Maybe he has a house, but he has no food. So he owns a house. So many people would be very harsh, would tell you, let him sell his house. If he sells his house, where he's going to live? He has to rent, and the rent require monthly payment and blah, 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 all of that. So if he has something, but not enough for his needs or his family's needs, this is al-miskin. Moving to number 4, Ibn al-Sabil. Who is Ibn al-Sabil? The son of al-Sabil is the wayfarer, or that is the traveler that is passing by. He's not staying. And a traveler, you may say, he has money to travel. How did he travel? His money might be stolen. His money might be like he used them all, and he did not expect to be in this situation. And he may have no place to stay at. He may need like a ticket, bus ticket, train ticket, whatever, to help him until he reaches to his final destination. So also we are required to help him. Look at this here, والسائلين. This is here the critical one. If somebody would ask you, then we have to give them, even if you give them something small. You just have to give it for the sake of the question. So Rasulullah said, give whoever would ask you, even if he is riding a horse. And of course, at that time, riding a horse means this person came from like a wealthy background, and it would tell a lot about his social status. So, but if he asks you, give him. Even if you give him something small, just for the sake of the ayah and for the sake of the hadith, just anything, because like asking is really hard for people. Just to come and ask, then it means most of the times, it means they are like there is a need. And a person who looks like with well appearance, nice appearance, and maybe wealthy appearance, coming to ask, it means he is in dire need, probably. So life is not like, subhanallah, many people would lose their money. They are very wealthy, and all of a sudden they're bankrupt. So, but they have still beautiful clothes and beautiful cars and beautiful homes, but they don't have cash flow. So they may ask. طيب. وفي الرقاب, and that would lead us, it's not in this ayah, it's in different ayah, it's in ayat al-zakah. Al-gharimin, those who have debt. Debt is zakah applicable. So just to know the difference. So a person who would ask, whatever you have, just give him. Sometimes you stop at the traffic light, and you find, and it's, we're seeing this more nowadays. Whatever you have, $1, a quarter, fine. طيب, inshallah. وفي الرقاب, and here is الرقاب is الرقبة. When we say الرقاب is a plural of الرقبة. الرقبة is neck, and of course that is referring to what? To emancipation, to freeing people from slavery. And al-ayah here, this verse is like pushing us to free people from slavery. In different ayat, Allah Azza wa Jal made it very clear about the thawab and about the good deeds that any person would take if he frees a neck. Some of the kaffarat, which is like if we do certain kind of sins, it requires atiq raqaba. So having an intimate relationship during the day of Ramadan, then the husband has to do atiq raqaba if he can't. Allah is making it very tough, and then if he can, then both of them should fast 2 months in a row. But atiq raqaba comes at the beginning. The first choice would be atiq raqaba, and that is sometimes very difficult. But for those people who are wealthy, they can do it. And subhanallah, you may say there is no slavery. Nowadays there is slavery, and there is if you look at the numbers here in America, they are saying we have a new form of slavery, which is the trafficking, the human trafficking, and it is way more than the days of the when the slavery was was okay. So there is slavery, and being part of freeing those necks is very rewarded. And we have to understand that Islam had a lot of effort to free slaves and to end slavery. There are two ways also to help a slave to be free. The first one is التدبير. التدبير, so that means if it's very similar to the way that George Washington did, that he wrote, whenever I die, or his wife probably, whenever I die, all of you are free, or whenever my wife dies, all of you will be free. And then his wife was afraid to get killed, so the slaves would be free, so she freed them at early stage. But in Islam, the similar way was valid. So this is one way, التدبير. Another way, which is al-mukataba. What is al-mukataba? From kitaba, from writing, which is like making a deal, a contract with the Lord. So the slave would make a contract with his Lord that I would work for certain period, and I'll pay certain amount of money, and then I will be free. Sayyidina Salman al-Farisi used this way. Rasulullah told him, why don't you go and do mukataba with your Lord? And he did, but his Lord was very just like all at slavery time, he was very greedy. So he asked him for like a bowl of gold, beside planting 1,000 palm tree. And Rasulullah told the Sahaba, why don't you help your brother? So everyone started to bring palm trees from their gardens until they collected 1,000. And then they went and helped Sayyidina Salman planting the 1,000. Rasulullah by himself helped him to plant the 1,000. And then the bowl of gold is left. And one day, Rasulullah received sadaqat. Among those sadaqat, there was one bowl of gold. And then he immediately called Sayyidina Salman and gave it to him. And at that point, Sayyidina Salman became free, radiyallahu anhu. So that is another way, which is al-mukataba. This is here, it's all related, subhanallah. If you take a look up at al-bir, you see that it's all, all of those are related to al-bir, which is righteousness. So al-bir usually is the thing that would make you come closer to the worships and closer to Allah Azza wa Jal, that also you realize that the bad deeds, yes, it has a good taste at the beginning, but then it will turn to regret in the heart and to anger of Allah Azza wa Jal and a punishment. Al-bir is about faith, and faith, as we have mentioned before, it comes first as mindful beliefs. It is in the brain, it is in the mind, that there are some facts that, okay, yes, those facts are true, but you use those facts to increase your iman through your heart. It reflects on the heart later on. Al-iman, which is here man amana. I'm just going back to this word because it is the key of all the orders down. So al-iman, it is always about the unseen things. Unseen things has no proof, something to prove it logically. So believing in the unseen, sometimes it may sound waiting. So all of the unseen matters are related to al-Iman. That is al-Iman. Al-Aqidah, which is faith, we call it al-Aqidah, and there is a subject that we study when we study Islam. It is al-Aqidah. What is the meaning of al-Aqidah? It's coming from the verb aqada. Aqada is when you tie something. So for an example, let's see, consider this as a rope, and then you tie it very well in a way that there is no way to be untied. That is aqada. So it will never be untied. That is our relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal. And and because it is related to the unseen, it must not be it must be untied. It must be very tied in a very strong way. So those are in general the basis of al-Iman. So moving forward, so من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل والسائلين وفي الرقاب. And now, so we're done with آتى المال. All of the category for آتى المال are done here. وفي الرقاب. Now a new order. وأقام الصلاة, and who established الصلاة. And subhanallah, الصلاة is very important. It is الصلاة عماد الدين, and عماد الدين means what? The pillar of the deen. This is not the pillar, the column of the deen. It is pillar, of course, but when Allah has Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says it is the column of the deen, can you imagine a building standing without columns? It won't. So this is as-salah. Wa aqama, iqamat as-salah, that means praying the 5 times on time. We don't delay any salah for shopping. We don't delay any salah for meeting. We don't delay any, we don't cause to make it qada for any reason. Salah must be on time. Wa ata az-zakah. Now here another order regarding the money, but this time is the zakah, which is one of the pillars upon wealthy or the people who owns a certain amount of money that requires zakah. So all of that giving in before is not like for the wealthy people. Yes, it's not for wealthy people. They could be moderate, they could be closer to masakin or closer to poor, yet they would give what they have. So that's it. Yes, Rasulullah said ولو بشق تمرة اتق النار ولو بشق تمرة, giving and cause yourself a shield from Jahannam, even by half of tamra, the date. Now at zakat is obligated 2.5% of certain amount of money that you owned for 1 full year. وَالْمُوفُونَ بِعَهْدِهِمْ, and here الْمُوفُونَ بِعَهْدِهِمْ is those who fulfill their ahd. What is ahd? The covenant. And what is, there is a difference between al-ahd and al-aqd. Al-aqd is a contract. So a contract usually between 2 people, both of them have to give something and take something from each other. There would be taking and giving in return. While al-ahd, no, it is between 2 people that one of them would give the other. So al-mufuna bi'ahdihim, then they fulfill their covenant. We have the most important covenant that we have is the covenant that Allah Azza wa Jal took upon us. Well, we have to fulfill it. Then other ahud, which is إذا عاهدوا, that if they make any other ahud, and we have our ahad with Rasulullah, you may have your ahad with your teacher, with your husband. So there are different kind of ahud. So we have to fulfill it. It's very important that we consider it seriously. This is from the birr. This is from getting closer to Allah. pleasing Allah, staying away from what displeased Allah Azza wa Jal. And then was-sabirin, Ya Allah, as-sabirin. You know how many times as-sabr was mentioned in the Quran? 141 times. Does that tell you anything? It's not 10, it's not 20, it's not 30, it's 141 times. So as-sabirin is something very important. Sabirin, it's يعني if I want to go talk about the language here, it has many subhanallah meanings. I just want to tell, yes, I may be telling you the Arabic language thing. So here, wal-mufun, if you see the waw noon, the waw noon is considered the haraki because this is a plural. And then anything comes with waw after it's supposed to have waw noon because they supposed to be similar. That is the Arabic language. So what comes with waw after wal-mufun? Was sabirin, but it didn't come as as-sabirun. It didn't come as waw noon, plural with waw noon. It came with ya noon. Why? Just to turn our attention. Allah changed the entire rule of the Arabic here to turn our attention. Subhanallah. So was-sabirina at what times? There are 3 times here Allah mentioned, or 3 occasions where mostly people go through and need as-sabr. The first one is al-ba'sa. And what is al-ba'sa? Al-ba'sa from al-bu's. Al-bu's is misery and poorness. That is al-bu's. So it says here suffering, it's of course it's kind of suffering, but al-ba'sa is that misery situation and poorness. What about ad-darra? Ad-darra is referring to sickness. So it is the pain and it is the sickness. It is taking a lot of medications, unable to move as before, vision. All of that is kind of ad-darra. So also we have to be patient. So if you enter a hospital and hear people, why Allah did that to me? No, that is not sabr. That's accusation to Allah Azza wa Jal. So al-darra also requires sabr. So people would take the pain and keep saying alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. And subhanallah, as if the word alhamdulillah during the pain, it's like anesthesia to the pain itself. And then wahin al-ba's, at the time of al-ba's, and al-ba's here is like another. So the first one ba'sa, the second one ba's. They are somehow related, but al-ba's here referring to the war, the time of the war when they have to go through. You look at all of the Muslim countries now, you feel it's subhanallah, not in peace. I have one phone call for many times from my daughter. Please let me take it. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Jazakumullah khair for waiting. So al-ba's is war or instability, which is like it's on wider stage. So al-ba'sa is like a personal, but al-ba's is on wider stage, which like more people are affected. Then Allah is saying, أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا. So if you go through all of those, and you do all of those, then those people who are sadaqu, their belief is true. They're truly believing in Allah Azza wa Jal. وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُتَّقُونَ. Those who are having a shield between them and Jahannam. المتقون protected from Jahannam. So this is the ayah. Let me double check here. I hope, inshallah, I didn't forget anything. Just to make sure that ayat al-zakah, I would love to read ayat al-zakah to you, just to let you know who is applicable yani for zakah and who is not. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'm trying just to find it because ayat al-zakah does not include al-fuqara. And I mean, it includes fuqara. It does not include the wil qurba, the relatives, and it does not include the orphans. So this is here. Okay, I'm not finding it now. For some reason, I had it. Okay, maybe, hopefully. طيب, I will hopefully post it inshallah on the group, just not to waste your time now. But so you know the difference between the two ayat is very important. طيب, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم القصاص في القتلى الحر بالحر والعبد بالعبد والأنثى بالأنثى. And Allah Azza wa Jal now is talking to the believers. يا أيها الذين آمنوا. And كتب عليكم here, it was there in kitaba there is difference. So kitaba could be Allah is registering our deeds. Also al-kitaba could be like something very similar to the contract. So or Allah decree. In this ayah it means Allah decree upon you al-qisas. Al-qisas. What is al-qisas? Al-qisas is the punishment. This is the meaning of al-qisas. So, and when Allah is saying kutiba alaykum, that means it is yani, written upon you this. So listen carefully. Fil qatla. So if there was killing, if a person killed another person, then Allah is putting some rules here. Free man for a free man. Slave man for a slave man. Female for a female. Yani if a slave was killed, you cannot go kill a free man for the slave. If a woman was killed, you cannot go kill a slave for a woman, for an example. So just exactly like in different ayah, al-aynu bil-ayn was-sinnu bis-sin, eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. So it's supposed to be exactly the same. Yet Allah Azza wa Jal is just what Allah He wrote upon us is not does not end here. Allah continues to say, فَمَنْ عُفِيَ لَهُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ, and whoever was forgiven from his brother. And why Allah is using brother, and it's the occasion here is killing. Yani they are enemies apparently. Allah is saying his brother just to make get the hearts closer to each other. So Allah is talking about pardon here and mentioning akhi, his brother, to soften the feelings between both of them. So Allah is mixing the meaning of the al-afu, فَمَنْ عُفِيَ is pardoning his brother. Then as if Allah Azza wa Jal is asking us to go for al-afu. فَمَنْ عُفِيَ لَهُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ شَيْءٌ. So if he was pardoned, then فَاتِّبَاعٌ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَأَدَاءٌ إِلَيْهِ بِإِحْسَانٍ. So let's follow that بالمعروف with like a suitable and with less blood way. And وَأَدَاءٌ إِلَيْهِ بِإِحْسَانٍ. What is أداء here? أداء is the payment that we call الدية. And الدية is called, it's blood money. It's called after أداء, from the same root, if you notice. So you just give him the money as أدية instead of killing him, or killing another person for him. So man killed a man killed another man from different tribe or from different family. Then that family pardoned that killer, but then the killer have to pay the diya, the blood money to the family. Sometimes The family would even pardon the diya. So I'll give you one example here. It's not necessarily killing him, just shooting him or something. It could be like an accident, car accident that caused that a person die. So if we want to follow this here, it's going to be like probably even more than killing. The damage could be more. And in this case, the person who is taking the revenge would be held accountable for the extra damage he caused. And that's why it's always recommended to go with the pardoning. So I know personally, I know from the far relatives of my husband, the close relatives to my husband, the person died. He died with a car accident. And the other family said, we are here, you can do whatever you want. Of course, they pardoned them, alhamdulillah, and they even pardoned the diya itself. Halla, look what is Rasulullah saying. What is Allah saying? First, Allah is saying that ذَلِكَ تَخْفِيفٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ, يعني Allah is trying to make it easy to stop killing between people, وَرَحْمَةٌ, and mercy. But here Allah is warning. فَمَنِ اعْتَدَى بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ. Al-i'tida is like transgressing, and in what means? So they may pardon that person when the diya is paid. The killer would come out, then they will take him and kill him. This is the transgression. So that is al-i'tida. Then Allah is warning him, فَلَهُ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. He has a painful punishment. And that happens, of course, if you read stories in the history, it happens. So we have to be very careful. As if those ayat are like more with ahkam and more with legislations today. And then Allah is saying, فَمَنْ بَدَّلَهُ بَعْدَمَا سَمِعَهُ فَإِنَّمَا إِثْمُهُ عَلَى الَّذِينَ يُبَدِّلُونَهُ. And this tabdil here is about what? Tabdil is changing. So whoever would change the words of Allah or the ahkam, the legislations of Allah after they hear it, and hearing always in Quran referring to understanding, because the hearing is the first gate to the brain. So بعدما سمعه, after hearing it, after understanding and comprehending it, then فإنما إثمه, the sin, its punishment, or it's like he will be the sin will be written upon those who are changing it. إن الله سميع عليم. Allah is all hearing, all knowing. We have طيب, and I think I missed one ayah before that, because I'm looking here for a tabdil. It's not changing, not the qisas. It's not the killing and the diya. It is exactly this here, this ayah. فَمَنْ خَافَ مِنْ مُوصٍ جَنَفًا. Now we're talking about death and wasiyah. So whoever is like, whoever fears from a person who is dying or writing his wasiyah, janafan, like a mistake, or a sin, not giving certain people their rights from his money, then فَأَصْلَحَ بَيْنَهُمْ, and then he would make it up with them. I feel like I missed one. Of course not that, yes. فَمَنْ خَافَ مُوصٍ جَنَفًا وَإِثْمًا. This is not the ayah. Okay, it's for some reason it's not taking me to my ayah. So ayah 179, we just finished it, and then ayah 180, that is the ayah. Okay. كتب عليكم إذا حضر أحدكم الموت. It was written upon you that if somebody is dying, the death is approaching to them, and that means what? They're not like they're not dead yet, but like some signs of death are here, either extremely sick, or they are in the hospital, or they are in a bad situation, that may lead them to death, then what they have to do. In taraka khayran, if they have leaving any money like or wealth or properties, then there is a wasiyah. They have to write wasiyah. Why they have to write wasiyah in Islam? Supposedly Allah Azza wa Jal said everything in the ayah, right? In different ayah, of course, not this ayah. Yes, but this ayah was revealed before the inheritance ayah. Meaning what? Meaning this ayah is mansukha, we do not take the hukum here. But it is very important to understand how the hukum gradually came, how the legislation gradually came. So before the Allah Azza wa Jal state the inheritance part for every family member, that was the legislation. So if he dies, he would say his wasiyah verbally, and he would include his fathers, his relatives in that. In the inheritance verse, fathers are included, but relatives are not included. And that's why we still write wasiyah for relatives if we want to give them money from our wealth. But parents are included unless they are non-believers. If they are non-believers, they are not included. If a person who's dying is a Muslim and his parents are not Muslim, they will not inherit from him. Then if you want to give them, he should write them in his wasiyah in this case. That's the only case where he can write a wasiyah for his parents. But as of this verse, it was about saying his wasiyah verbally. And then that's why Allah is saying, haqqan ala al-muttaqeen, righteous people around him are listening it. He's supposed to be righteous also to include his parents and his relatives, because many people used to exclude their parents and only give their kids. And then that's why the next ayah is saying, فَمَنْ بَدَّلَهُ بَعْدَ مَا سَمِعَهُ, after they heard al-wasiyah from that person who's dying, and they understood it and comprehended it well, and then they changed it, then he is among sinful people, and the sin will fall upon them alone. Allah is all hearing, Allah is all knowing. So very important to know that this ayah is not valid anymore, and that's what we call it mansukha bi ayat al-mirath, by the inheritance ayah. So this is inshallah for today. Let me just quickly double check. Yeah, inshallah. So that is it. And it is very important to understand that we all have to write our wasiyah in our straight mind. While we are healthy, any person above 18, 20 is required to write a wasiyah. It is okay to edit your wasiyah based on your wealth, increasing wealth or increasing relationship that you want to include in your wasiyah. I know people who included the maid who used to help her, because she helped her for a long time. She used to take a salary, of course, but because she was very tender-hearted, the maid, so that person included her in her wasiyah. She is not among relatives, not among parents, or of course kids, but she edited her wasiyah 2 years before her death to include that person. But we have to have a base. And in wasiyah, of course, we always should start with ordering our kids to follow, to believe in Allah and His Messenger, and to increase their ta'at. So the main part of the wasiyah is wasiyat ad-deen, about their religion, to preserve their religion. And then we start with other matters that is not stated in the ayah, because everything is stated. Every person As stated in the ayah, we cannot give him extra wasiyah or extra money. We cannot list them in the wasiyah as giving them extra money. This is haram. And if like, let's say you have one son who is really, really taking care of you, you just give him during your life. You want to give him one property, you want to give him certain amount of money as a reward, fine. Or you have one of your kids have disability and you just want to make sure that after your death he will be doing well, he will not be needing anybody, then it is okay. You can write something for him. Allocate it during your life, not in your wasiyah. And what is very common that many people would say, give sadaqah to this, give sadaqah to that. Why we don't give the sadaqah while we are alive and we take the reward while we are alive? It is more rewarded, subhanAllah, if we do it ourselves, and if we give up part of our wealth for the sake of those poor people, or you may find in many of the wasaya, dig a well for me. Why you didn't dig the well during your life? It is like very important to understand that all sorts of hasanat are good before and after death, but before death it's even more rewarded, or also you witness the results. Why waiting for the inheritance for your lineage, for your kids to go and do it? They may do it, they may not do it, they may do it late, or they may not do it right. Why don't you do it the way you want it while you are alive? So it's subhanAllah, there are some kind of stinginess in ourselves inside hidden, and it comes through those do this after I die. And then those people who are inheriting the money would be, okay, now that would decrease our part, which is subhanAllah, it brings all of the bad thing in ourselves out. So we have to be very careful with wasiyah, and in America it has to be through through someone who would there is I think Sheikh Bradford, he can do wasiyah, and for every state, based on your state legislation, in a way that would preserve the Islamic rights for the inheritance. So it won't, your wealth won't be taken by the government, or your kids won't be like going back and forth to the court to take their right in your wealth. So be mindful that we don't live in an Islamic country to do your wasiyah upon. Do it ahead of time. I think it needs to be notarized. But if you go to wasiyah, I think it is wasiyah.com. I remember we've done our wasiyah through it. It's $100. You can do your wasiyah and then be sure to take it and notarize it. Don't hide it in a place that impossible for your kids to reach to it, because some people would put it in a safe box in the bank. There's no way to open the safe box if a person die. So it's better to have it in a place handy in your bedroom, not locked, or if it's locked, the key is around, something like that. We will end here inshallah. Allahumma laka alhamd kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhika wa li azimi sultanik. Allahumma ighfir lana warhamna wa'afina wa'fu anna wa ila ghayrika la takilna. Allahumma ahdina wahdi bina wa yassir al-huda ilayna واجعل أفئدة من الناس تهوي إلينا. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا واجعله حجة لنا لا حجة علينا يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلي اللهم وسلم وبارك عليك يا سيد يا رسول الله. And I will stop inshallah the recording, then I'll take your questions if you have any questions.